All right, guys, here's part 2 or 3. I can't remember which part I'm on here for the Kubota RADTECH Honda front mount PTO snow rebuild project I have going on. Working on a couple parts here. This is just a boss to put into this flange here to replace some shaft components that come off the PTO into the auger housing. So I decided to rebuild the shaft. And I can't show you any of my machine work because that worm gear and the pin is driven in. There's a thrust bearing right here. There's a bronze oil light bearing right there. Oil seal, and then there's a cap on the front of the gearbox. And that all bolts together. So I made this shaft, made it out of 1-inch PNG, which is precision ground and polished. So if you're doing any work like this at home, you can do all this stuff without too fancy tools. And I've cut keyways with an angle grinder, so you don't need to per se have all the fancy equipment to be able to do this stuff. Actually, I back up here. There's some critical bearing races right there that need to be machined. But if you need to do something out of just some 1-inch shafting, ask for P&G at your local metal supply. It's 1045 medium carbon steel. Machine's great, and it's got a pretty consistent diameter. I think this is 0.999 to be exact. Anyway, that fits into all kinds of bearings and off-the-shelf sheaves and bushings and whatnot, so you don't need to turn down the diameter to make it all fit. So anyway, a couple of I would say quasi-critical holes right here and the keyway. On this unit right there, I made the keyway much longer because my housing is about 1/2 inch bigger. So I had to give myself a little bit more room, and on top of that too, my bearing is a bearing in a pillow block there. It's a self-aligning one as opposed to the stamped sheet metal carriers. The parts on the milling machine I just showed you is this right here, and the way that this was sitting in the blower housing is the impeller was rubbing on the bolts for the pillow block bearing. So I've got to make a new one of these because this is seized on here, and I just don't want to beat it off or cut it off. I just want to keep this as a reference point for later. So I'm just going to make a new one, and that will index here. And if I need to shim it to get more clearance, then that'll be how that problem is solved. There's the back side of the blower housing all welded up. I'm not sure if I showed this in the last video, but what I did was I just put it all on machinist jacks, got it all level as best as I could, and mated it up to the original diameter. Nothing too crazy here. As I said, if I needed to move anything, I would move the outside bearings to get it all lined up. But it looks like I've built in enough clearance that it's not going to be an issue. The only issue I'm having is I just have to make a longer shaft for the gearbox and the PTO side so that there is adequate clearance. There's the gearbox right there, the balance of the impeller, and I haven't done any of the paddle work, and I've basically just finish welded this out right here using the Multimatic 235. Great machine, very simple to use. I didn't want to buy a MIG and piss around with wire settings and voltages, so that's a really good machine for its factory settings. You just dial in your material thickness and your wire, and you go from there. Okay guys, so that's where I'm at so far. We'll post this up, and we'll show you a little bit more progress later on. I'm expecting 15 centimeters of snow here on Monday. It's Friday today, so with any luck I can have this thing buttoned up and ready to move some snow. Hopefully a video for you guys on Monday. All right, thanks for watching.